It's bloody hard.
Yeah. And you can never do it on your own.
You can't. And, you know, if it wasn't hard, everyone would do it.
Of course. Exactly.
And that's why it is AFL footy or VFL footy at that stage. Yeah. It is hard, and it's set there to be demanding and hard. Of
course.
You know, and
if it was that easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah, and test exactly, and test you. And you know, you go back, and you know, the first person after the game I saw in the rooms is my dad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, and it's just
that must have been a moment of pride for you.
It is, yeah.
And him too.
And him.
Man, Joe. He would have been really proud of you.
Yeah, look, and he was, in his own way, he was always hard on me as a player.
Right.
You know, he would shout, and he expected a lot of me when he was coaching me.
Did he bring you up that way too on the phone?
No, look, he was a great dad. You know, a very kind man, but when you passionate about his footy, really passionate about his football.
Was he a Carlton supporter back then, or was he
Collingwood?
Oh, Collingwood!
But you know, he would drive me more than the other boys, and he would tell me off more.
So here you are in a premiership against the side that he followed.
For Carlton, but you know, I remember the first thing he said to me. He said, "Well done, but keep your feet on the ground." So he was saying, you know, I'm proud of it.
Keep a lid on it.
But keep a lid on it. Just make sure, you know.
I love that. Don't get out of control.
Don't get out of control. So, you know.
It meant a lot to you, didn't it, that premiership?
Yeah, look, it really did. And, you know, and like I said, I'm forever grateful to Carlton and Alex and, you know, for what they've done for me and my family. And, you know, it's been something that's gone with my whole career. You know, I did play better games before that, and better games after it. You know, but people only remember you, Vince, for that one game.
Of course.
And a lot of people don't realise I played 160 games.
That's right.
And I played with 4 clubs. They just remember Peter Francis.
The moment where you hit the top of the
that he played in the 79 grand final.
Top of the mountain,
Most people go, you know, I can walk over the dog park over here and, you know, the Carlton, old blokes from Carlton can't they think I just played at Carlton. And, and they remember that game. They don't remember any of the other games. No. And so it is important to play well in a grand final on that big stage and make an impact. And you're forever remembered for it. And, you know, I've got no doubt it's defined me as a footballer and a coach and a person. And Alex has done that, you know, by the way, and, you know, obviously my parents and, you know, my family and Robin and my kids and those sort of things. But along the way, you know, that's been a massive part of my life, and I've been lucky enough to spend, you know, a whole career in football after that, and
something that you love.
Something I love as a player.
Get to do that?
Not many.
That's
Rocco, not many.
It's amazing.
Well, imagine what percentage of players that have played AFL football are lucky enough to actually play senior football.
Exactly.
What percentage of those people have actually played in that last day of September?
Well, I was going to say, you know, it's like it's only like a few hundred players, or 300 or 400 players, whatever it is, that have actually won a grand final. You think about it, you're in that.
Yeah, in that category. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, and it defines your life. And I'm sure, you know, that I wouldn't have got a lot of the opportunities. Oh, I know I wouldn't have, without playing, and I put it down to that day.
That day.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's you know, I've been really fortunate along the way, you know, to I don't know, it's, you know, to have a life in football where I was able to hopefully impact, and my journey, I hope, was able to impact on kids and remember, you know, as a coach, I used to think to myself, just remember that you played and it's bloody hard out there.
It is.
You know, so that I wasn't too hard on them and those sort of things.
Yeah,
and that,
that's right.
Yeah, and that I could, you know, to part on things that I did wrong along the way, which I did many, and I would change now if I could and do it all very differently, and I would be a better player. And as much as I trained hard, I would train harder and better and smarter and all those sort of things. You know,
we're all generals after the battle.
Exactly.
That's Rocco's favourite saying.
We're all generals.
We are. But, you know, like all those coaches before AFL football, you know, my junior coaches and senior coaches that I had along the way, and all those coaches that, you know, that I had as senior coaches.
All trying to help you get better.
Yeah, exactly. They've all impacted on me in some way, and the 4 clubs has taught me different cultures along the way of how football clubs run. But it was Carlton that I really probably go back to all the time because that culture of we don't lose success is so important.
Wasn't there something written up on the wall? Second place is not good enough, or second.
Yeah, it was. I can
something
remember
like that.
In those old rooms, those Heatley stand rooms. There was.
Or second best, I think it might have been.
As you ran out the door, it was up over above, and I can't remember what it was, but
along those
spot
lines.
on. Yeah, and they didn't.
And that just reinforces it in there, doesn't it?
Yeah, and look, George Harris as president.
Well, I was going to ask you, after the '79 premiership, and obviously, you enjoyed that and celebrated it. Did you celebrate it well and hard?
I don't drink.
No. I mean, as in, did you celebrate the premiership well with the boys and all that?
Yeah, we did. But
there wasn't any trips to London or anything
else? No. But Vince, I was only known drinker virtually at the club.
Really?
So I was.
So 21-year-old?
Yeah, never drunk. And
just played in the premiership. Did you think that, hey, this is great, I'll be playing in a few more of these?
Yeah.
Seeing I'm in a great team like this, we've got to surely play another 2 or 3 premierships.
Yeah, and I probably...
Isn't it amazing you never played in another one?
And I probably fell for that in 1980 where I had a poor season. And
right.
Look, there were a number of things that happened.
Yeah. What about
George Harris thing? I was a Jesselinko man. Obviously, and still am. And loved him. And and George Harris.
He was very loyal to George Harris.
He was.
That's why he left. Out of sheer loyalty.
Yeah. And he ruled with an iron fist, George Harris. I was absolutely petrified of that man.
Right.
I was petrified of him. And I can tell you a story. One day, Percy, the Dover Hotel, he had the Dover Hotel at that stage in Lygon Street with Gags. Yeah. They banked at the CBA bank where I worked in Lygon Street. Yeah. Percy would always come in.
And the same hotel on the corner of Elgin and Lygon? Yeah, same one,
Anyway.
Became Percy's bar. Yeah.
No, it was down a little bit further down towards the city.
Oh, right.
Dover.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they must have shifted.
They had 2 or 3 pubs. They shifted a few times. But anyway, they banked at our bank.
Yep.
And I was a teller. Yep. At the bank, so all the players banked there, but Perth had the business bank there.
Yep.
Anyway, I'd have up on the counter. I might have been doing other work. I can't remember what the sign was, but no teller at this stage. Perth would just walk in and stand at my thing and go, Siebes. They called me CBA because I CBA bank. That was the thing. Siebes, come on. Serve me, come on, like this.
Yeah. None of this no teller available.
No.
I'm here, you're there, come and serve me.
But come and serve me. And like he was an unbelievable character. And
wasn't he? And he became your coach.
Yeah, he became coach. But I think that, one of the things that happened was, with that going with, obviously Harris and Jesselinko going, we didn't have a senior coach until nearly February. And
how would you go about your pre-season?
We were virtually left around. They did have someone, but nearly left to our own devices a little bit.
Right.
And for a second-year player, exactly, second-year player coming off a premiership,
wasn't
hard
good.
enough. Yeah, all of a sudden you lose that 5% of hunger.
Yeah.
And it's not great. It needed someone to bring it back down to earth and say, hey, mate, start training hard, or this is going to be a disaster. And for me, it was. I only played 13 games, had a few injuries, but poor form, and so you're right. I thought after that 79, this is going to happen every year. This is
if Jezza had stayed,
would have been a different story.
You might have had a great season.
Yeah, and Perth coming in, he was mates with everyone, and look, he'd been the clown of the club, you would have heard about the tram incident. And that was Ian Stewart, when Ian Stewart was coach. He took us out, I don't know if they've told you the story, but we had pre-season training under Ian Stewart before Christmas.
Right.
He said, I want you in at the club at 4 o'clock. 4 a.m, like we're all working.
4 a.m?
4 a.m. So we arrived at
4 o'clock, I was
a.m.
thinking Peter.
No, 4 a.m.
4 a.m?
Yeah, and this was, I think it was I can't remember if it was a morning we were actually working or if it was like a Saturday or Sunday.
Really?
But anyway, we get there and we're there at 4 a.m. There's a bus waiting for us. So we hop on, change into our training gear, hop on, takes us out to Mahoney Road.
Oh, yeah.
Mahoney Road. Out Faulkner.
Thomas Town, all that. Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Yeah.
Time trial back to Princess Park.
Jeez.
Now,
So
it was a work day, down Sydney Road, straight down Sydney Road. Anyway, so they start, whistle goes, off we go.
So this is at the start of the 78 season?
This is the start of the 78 season, and Ian Stewart is the coach.
How far is that? Do you know?
Oh, it's a bloody long way.
That is huge.
By the time we got started, it was after 5. There's a bit of traffic about.
I was going to say
but not huge, but it's still dark.
But not only that, truck fumes and
it's still dark. So anyway, we run back and finally blokes start, dripping in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the day Perce caught the tram and he's hidden on the tram.
Yes, I do remember that story.
So Perce has got on the tram, caught it in, and then got off the tram just as you get to Princess Park, just beforehand, and then run in. Anyway.
So he's hardly...
Oh, yeah, I've been bringing up a sweat. He's probably bloody got to the tap.
He wouldn't have even put out a candle.
Yeah, he's probably got to a cold water tap.
Sprayed put water all over himself.
Sweat or something like that, and sprayed himself. Yeah. Anyway, he's run in, mid sort of pack, and bloody well done, Perce, great run. And anyway, blame me dead, Gary Milroy, who was a reserves ruckman and a friend of mine, he was last. Anyway, next minute, everyone's in, and Ian Stewart's, where's bloody Milroy? He's stamping around and pretty wild. And next minute you see Gary running across the park and slowly gets in there and he goes, Milroy, how come you're so long before, even Percy's beaten you, how come you're so long? He goes, sorry Stewie, I had a terrible run with the lights.
So Gary reckons he was waiting at the light.
He was running at a red light all the time. Had a terrible run. Anyway, he was gone the next week. You got rid of him like that. So just like that, Gary was gone. So
that's tough, man.
Yeah.
There's no science in that sort of thing. Ian Stewart's just basically, baking us, really.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly. And,
when you because you and Jez are, as you said, great mates and everything. How did you hear about him leaving? What happened? Did he tell everyone, or did you just find out through the grapevine?
There was no. That announcement was made at the
AGM
town hall
or at that special meeting.
I think it is. It is
at the special meeting.
I think it's an AGM.
Yeah. Did you know
at the
beforehand?
No. That was
so everyone was surprised there.
He resigned then.
Wow.
See, because they basically did a vote.
Yeah.
To vote out George Harris as president.
And
so when that happened, Jesus said, "Well, that's it. I'm leaving."
Yeah.
What did he stand up and say, "I'm leaving"?
He stood up as.
But didn't he make it clear beforehand that if that happened, he was going to leave?
I think he did.
And no one thought he was going to.
I don't think they'd go through with it. And
he said,
that night he got up. And
I didn't realise that. That's amazing.
He did.
I could be wrong about that, but
He did tell the player. We did have a meeting up in one of the rooms in Kurt Marnie, and I don't know whether it was after that night.
Yeah.
But I think it was after that night, and he explained to the players the reason. Absolutely. He explained to the players the reason why he'd gone, and that he virtually was at loggerheads with Wes and Wes Lofts and supported George and wanted to get back in. But I think his support thought that George would win.
Was Wes Lofts the driving force behind getting rid of George Harris?
Yes. I think they thought that George and Alex were becoming too powerful. I think Alex wanted more control over the match committee and things like that. Wes at that stage was chairman of selectors. And, I think that was the reason why that had all come. So there was a little bit of.
So then Ian Rice becomes your new president, and Wes Lofts keeps his spot. Perce
comes as coach, and that wasn't the announcement wasn't made till February. I think they were trying to get.
That's right. Well, because
I think they were trying to talk Alex back into coming, and thought that he would, and it didn't happen. And we were really left to our own devices. And in Perce's defence,
he finished on top of the ladder, didn't you?
Yeah.
In 80. Like, it wasn't a bad year, you just failed in the finals.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We went out in both sets. And
wasn't a bad year. We finished on top of the ladder.
That's what I'm saying. I'm being sarcastic when I say it's not a bad year. They finished on top of the ladder. They just failed in the finals. Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Well, you need to have a more strategic mind in finals, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You do. And
every week, home and away, we was fine with Perth.
Yeah.
I mean, almost the players were coaching themselves, weren't they, just about?
They were, yeah. And there's no doubt, that he tried to follow what Alex was instead of being himself. Yeah. And I think in his defence, if he just stayed himself...
In his defence, he never really wanted the job, did he?
No, not initially, but I think he did in the end. And I think...
maybe he shouldn't have put up his hand for the job.
Yeah.
Well, he finished with 79 as a player.
Yeah, that grand final was his last game.
He's had no assistant coaching or anything. No. And he goes straight into
That's
the
what I mean. It's unfair, really.
That's
he's
tough.
been judged very harshly.
That's tough.
Yeah, and I think, in his defence, he probably uses a bit of a figurehead because people would love Perce. He was
up there with Jezza on the the roster,
stage.
Getting the cup and all that sort of thing.
Exactly. And I think
Jezza's gone.
was their way of getting them across the line. And so, we're on a hiding to nothing really in 80. It was only talent that got us through.
Yeah.
And really,
that's why you needed...
you needed to be hardened. And
that's when David Parker...
Do you think in a way the players in that final series were sort of, in a funny sort of a way, putting up the white flag to say, hey, we need to see some change? In other words, did they... maybe not really give it their all in the 1980 final series?
No.
Did you play in that final series?
I played the first one and played pretty well against Richmond and got dropped.
Really?
For the Collingwood game, which was really disappointing. And
where's Loftus dropped you?
Yeah, he did. And that's where I talked about, sometimes
you must have thought even then, geez, I've been dropped for the semi-final after playing well.
Yeah. And
did that put your nose out of joint a bit?
It did, and I confronted him on it, which was a bad mistake, and on my part.
When you're talking to Wes Lofts, yes.
Yeah, and I probably embarrassed him in front of some people.
In front of people, yeah.
Yeah, and I shouldn't have, and I was
even though he probably deserved it.
I felt that he did.
Yeah.
And he sort of pulled me in a room afterwards and grabbed me by the scruff of the neck.
Don't
and virtually said, never embarrass me again. And virtually said, that you're a shithouse and that,
So was it any surprise that halfway through, or not even halfway through, was it? 81?
81, yeah. No, it wasn't, probably wasn't a surprise to me, but I always felt a little bit insecure and I think, I shouldn't have challenged him. I should have copped the decision on the chin, knowing now what I know, I wouldn't have done it. And rightly or wrong, whatever the coach or the chairman selectors do, they're right. In a player's mind, they need to be right. And
rule number one, the chairman selectors is always right.
The coach is
rule
always
number two, if he's ever wrong, refer to rule number one, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I always tell players, whether you think he's wrong or he's right, he's right.
He's right.
Yeah, no matter what. And
you'll never win a battle against someone.
No, you won't. And I think, that day, that evening, I put Wes off.
So you embarrassed him publicly. So you won that battle, but he won the war.
Well, yeah, that's right. Exactly. And then...
the power of these people.
Oh, but it's not just the power, it's the ego.
I was going to say, power and ego.
It's the more power they have, the more, it's out of control their ego becomes. Yeah. And if you ever challenge that or belittle them publicly, God help you.
Interesting.
Yeah, so...
And Wes wouldn't have been the only chairman of selectors like that.
No, that's right.
Graham Richmond at Richmond.
No. But he was great. He was great when I got there. Okay. But, the next year, David Parkin come in and he just changed the whole thing back again. Yep. He was brilliant. We had a player interview.
Yes.
I can remember having that with him and going through
He's a very thorough
season.
Coach, isn't he?
He was brilliant. He read to me what he thought of me as a player, as an opposition coach. He had a dossier on every player in the competition.
Yeah, of course.
What he had. And read to me what he thought of me as a player.
In his filing cabinet, Peter
Francis, here you go. This is my thoughts on you as a opposition player and what I thought.
Do you remember some of the stuff he put in there?
No, I can't. some of it.
I reckon
probably
David
wasn't.
Parker.
Brilliant
No,
game of the
no,
1979 grand final.
I wish it was. It was
I
probably
reckon David Parker's still got all them.
Yeah, he would for sure. And but
So Parker comes along. Okay,
Yeah.
so you might have got dropped to the 80, for the 1980 semi-final, which we lost.
yeah.
But you're still on the list. It's not like they
No,
dropped you at the end of that season.
no. And
So
I
you're
come
only
back,
22 years of
yeah,
age.
and
23.
David had all these different games, and
Yeah.
and everyone plotted against one another. So
Yep.
I actually won the best pre-season trainer award
In 1981.
in 1981 for the team. So there were team events, individual events for your times, and all those sort of things. So it ended up that, and I even missed. Robin and I got married. I missed a week of training.
Right.
As most blokes sort of missed a week here or there
Yeah,
with
yeah,
holidays or
yeah.
things like that. But you know, I won that award. So I wasn't going to let 1980 happen again.
No.
I was determined that I was going to impress the new coach, and I was going to get back. I went
New
back.
opportunity.
I went back into the boxing ring.
Right. Did all those
Did
things.
those sort of things. Got right back into the weights, which I let go in 1980.
Yep.
And thought I need to get back and start working hard again. So I played the first 13 games.
I was just going to say, and
I
in comes
started
Bazasto and Hunter from WA.
and we had a great side. And
That was a great side.
Played
was.
the first 13 games.
I played the first 13.
Played well?
Yeah, I had a really good start to that season. I had a little bit up and down, but good enough to hold my spot.
So you played more than half the season.
More than half the season. Then I had a little injury, missed round 14 and 15.
Yep.
I think I come back for 16, something like that in the twos.
Yep.
Played really well. I was picked for a night game at Waverley Park.
Yep.
And to play in the centre. Anyway, on the Monday night,
Were they
for the
still,
seniors.
Were they still playing those night
Yeah,
games?
this was June.
As late as round
June.
16 and
So
17?
this is just before the deadline.
Okay.
Right. So June.
Yeah.
So we're
Righto.
hitting June.
Yep.
So, look, maybe...
Yeah,
maybe
around
I went
13,
back-
14's around about the Queen's birthday. So we're about late June.
Yeah, and anyway, so I'm picked in the centre.
Must have been a June 30 deadline.
Yeah, it was June 30 deadline. So we're right on it now, aren't we?
Righto, yeah.
Today? Is June 30 today? Or yesterday? Whatever.
No, we're in July. Right
July,
now.
July, June, no.
Yeah, that's all right.
Anyway...
July 30 today.
Yeah, July 30th. Bloody hell, I got my months
That's
wrong.
all right.
Anyway, all of a sudden I'm at home. Robin and I just got married in the pre-season.
Yep.
We settled in Essendon. We're living in Essendon, and Robin's gone playing netball. I get this phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's Leon Wiegard from Fitzroy, and he's on the end of the phone. And
He was the president, wasn't he?
He was sort of president.
Or on the board or something?
Yeah, he was on the board, but his brother was the president.
That's right.
And Leon was on the committee.
He eventually became president.
Yeah, he did. And Leon, he was on the phone, but he had a cold or a really bad cold or the flu. He's going, Peter, it's Leon. And I thought it was Wayne Harms having a joke with me. Get off the phone, Harms, you idiot. Like this. Anyway, it ended up being Leon.
Isn't it amazing, eh?
Yeah, and he said, Peter, look, I'm just ringing to see if I don't know if you heard about, the Carlton, the Marquezani wants to go to Carlton. I'm just ringing to see if you would be interested in coming across to Fitzroy. And I said, Leon, I haven't heard anything about this.
Right.
I've had no inkling.
Mm.
I've heard of other players that might have been put up, but I haven't heard my name bandied about.
Yep.
I need to talk to my coach, which was David Parkin,
Yep.
before I do anything.
Right.
And these were days where people weren't supposed to contact club players without permission.
So he technically sort of...
He obviously had
bent the rules
Lofty's
a bit
permission.
there. Well, that's... Yeah, exactly.
Which
That's
we
right.
didn't know. So I rang David at home, and I got Lynn and his wife. And Lynn said, "Oh, what's wrong, Peter? You're worried where you're playing on Tuesday night." So it's a Sunday night. I said, "No, Lynn, I'm not worried about Tuesday night. I'm worried about now. Is David around?" She said, "No, he's in Adelaide, but he's back in the morning. I'll get him to ring you straight away. Are you okay?" And I said, "Look, I'm okay. I just need to talk to him." She said, "Okay." So 9 o'clock the next morning, he rings me at the bank. He said, "Peter, what's wrong? You're concerned about..."
So when he says what's wrong, he's none the
He's
wiser
none the
either.
wiser either.
Wow.
And I said, "David, I've been contacted by another club. I want to know where I stand."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Who's the club?" And I said, Fitzroy. He goes, oh, like that. That's what he went, oh. And he said, wait there. I need to make some phone calls. And I said, okay. So it was like he didn't know about it at that stage.
But then as soon as you said Fitzroy,
he goes,
Cotton Don had something to do with
he goes, something's going on. In between that, Kevin Hall, Mike Fitzpatrick, captain of the club, rang me, another selector, and said, Peter, so Parkin rang them and said, Peter, your name has never been given up as one. We've given up 6 other players. I can tell you now, you weren't one of those players. We don't want you to go. I said, okay, I'm happy.
Of course you were there.
Parkin rang me back and he said, Pete, I've been trying to get on to Wes. This is about 2 hours later. For a couple of hours, he either won't take my call or he hasn't rang me back. Can you try him and see how you go? I got straight through to him.
He wasn't taking the call.
I get straight through. So I ring him at his offices in North Melbourne. I said, Wes, Peter Francis here. I think we need to talk. And he said, I've heard your name's been bandied round. You better come and see me. That's what he said.
Really?
I thought,
heard your name's been
bandied round. You better come and see me.
He was the one doing the banding round.
I told the bank manager, look, I need to go. I need to go. So I drove around to his offices in North Melbourne, sat down, and we were talking for a good half an hour. And I think he thought I wasn't going to go, which I didn't want to go.
Yep.
And all of a sudden he goes, look, Peter, it's actually like this. We're going to get Marquezani, whether you go or not, and he plays in your position, and we're not getting him to play in the seconds. And I've gone, it's like that. And I thought, I'm in a bit of trouble here. I may not play. And then I started to think, because I thought Carlton were a really good chance to play premiership. You know, we had a good
You were right about that.
You were right.
Yeah, well, everything was sort of heading that way.
Yeah.
Like, we were actually probably even better. And
of course,
I thought, so for the first time, I never had a contract, anything with Carlton. I just played for match payments. I played in a grand final for $70 in a premiership. $70. So my match payments were $70 a senior game, $25 a reserve game. I was just happy to play. You know, I'm a local, out of their regions.
There's a few players like that, just no contracts.
No contracts,
Played for the Guernsey base.
Yeah, I tried to actually get a contract at the start of that season, but for some reason it didn't happen. And
I can imagine,
just
going how old were you when you tried to get a contract?
I was 23 by then.
You're a young man.
There's no such thing as managers back then.
No.
You had to fend for yourself,
I
basically.
heard Brian, that Kevin Sheedy had a manager, a fellow called Brian Ward, who was a solicitor.
Yep.
I spoke to my mum and dad and rang Brian Ward, and he said, Peter, you better come in and see me. Mum and dad come down from Heathcote, and we met with him in his offices. And this is late Monday.
Right.
And
so we're talking the middle of the season, about round 15 or 16.
Yeah, and I'm going to play Tuesday night.
You're meant to be playing Carlton on a Tuesday night.
The next night.
Again. Yeah, the next night. Yeah. And this is Monday evening.
That's good preparation.
Yeah, good preparation. And went through with Brian the story.
Yeah.
Brian said, Peter, you need to go. They're not, what if you're sitting in the stand and Marquezani's, Marquezani's out there, you know, what you're telling me is they don't want you anymore. And I said, and he said, we'll do the deal. So the next day, they did the deal during the day.
And and who did you know at Fitzroy at that stage?
Robert Walls.
That's it.
Yeah, and he wanted me. I knew no one else. Quinlan.
Robert Walls had a very high opinion of you.
Yeah, he was a great coach.
Yeah.
He's my best coach by a long shot. And I can tell you why, Vince. This will go on maybe too long, but he
not at all.
Robert come into the bank on the Monday and come in and saw me and said, "Look, I'm the one that wants you. I've been pushing for you all along. Carlton didn't want to get rid of you. They wouldn't put you up. I want a like for like. I want someone that plays like Marquezani played, but better. And I want you. I don't want the others. And I'm prepared to stand my ground all this time with Carlton to get you. So it's been my call. So he wanted me as a player. and that makes you feel good.
Of course.
You think, so the Tuesday night.
I think they won the deal.
Yeah. No. The Tuesday night, I
pretty obvious that they won the deal.
That
Did you
afternoon.
play the Tuesday night?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't end up playing?
I
wouldn't have played.
No, it was signed.
Because they did the deal then on that
Tuesday afternoon when
Yes,
the deal
yes.
was done.
Yeah.
I went across for considerably more money.
That was good.
Me and
at least you got a decent
so
deal.
Fitzroy got me and 150,000. Now you think what
$150,000 in 1981.
Yep.
Geez, that's a lot of money
That's
today.
a lot
For
of money
Marcazani.
for Marcazani to go to Carlton. So
Wow.
I was a good deal for Fitzroy. And
Was it a good deal for you?
Yeah, look, it was. All of a
Considering
sudden,
what
$150,000. You saying that's the transfer fee?
That's my transfer. That's the transfer.
That went to
fee.
you?
No,
No,
that goes to
With the
Fitzroy.
Fitzroy?
Oh, right.
That
Okay.
goes to Fitzroy.
Right.
But I signed on with Fitzroy for 3 years, considerably more
Yeah, I was just going to say.
money.
If that was your salary, you would have been
yeah.
the highest paid player in the
Exactly.
VFL at the time.
Exactly, but for
Yeah.
considerably more
Oh,
money.
yeah.
And,
Big transfer fee.
yeah, it was a big transfer,
Yeah.
massive money, and
Carlton
in
good
that
paying
time-
over the top money for players, aren't they?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
those people are still at the club now.
Yeah, but so that's how it worked out.
So
And
then you
I
went-
become a Fitzroy player.
Yeah.
So I trained with Fitzroy on the Thursday
I was
night.
going to say the first
You
day
learnt
you
your
went-
lesson, you put a nice low number on your back there. Number 7.
Number 7, which Hayden Bunton. What better locker
Yes,
could you
yeah.
get?
At least you
3
didn't have
times.
to carry that 47 on
Yeah,
your back anymore.
I love 47. 47 and 7 are my favourite
Yes.
numbers.
Yeah.
And, I always had a 7 at Richmond, 17 at
Wow.
Essendon.
Is
So
that-
always had a 7
Yes,
on.
that's
But
That's a good little stat there. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I like that.
I love
different clubs,
47s.
but always had a 7 in the number.
Yeah, 47 is my favourite number. So
Isn't it a shame you can't put it on your Tetzlato?
Yeah,
It's just a bit
exactly.
too
How
high.
many
Exactly.
games did you play for Carlton?
47.
Oh,
So it's a
yeah.
bit ironic that I didn't go past
Oh,
47
okay.
games. But
47 games in the number
yeah,
47.
So I crossed over to Fitzroy, trained on the Thursday night, trained and played in the centre of Merv Nagel. We played
Who'd you
Essendon
play in your
at
first
the
game?
in the centre against Merv Nagel at the Junction, and had a really good day. And
Good. So did you
but
feel good? Did you feel
I did, yeah.
like rejuvenated? Like, okay, this is a new beginning?
we lost. It was a tidy sort of game.
I'll tell you what, you
It
had
wasn't
some
much.
good
It
players
really
coming
wet,
through.
but I played with some absolute superstars
You did. You did.
at Carlton. Jules, Southby, Cheselenko, Walls, you name them, and the list. Johnson,
Yeah.
Wayne Harms.
Where do you want to
Love Wayne. Like
Ashman,
he's like a
Sheldon,
brother to
Buckley,
me,
McClure,
and the
yeah,
list
exactly.
goes on.
Yeah.
Bernie Quinlan was absolutely something else. He
At
was the
Fitzroy.
prototype for the modern day player.
My word.
6'4". He was a Brownlow
And
medalist.
that year he won the Brownlow with Barry
I went
Brown.
across. He was
The
playing.
first tied Brownlow medal.
Yeah, and
1981.
Yes, you're
he
right.
was playing ruck rover at that stage when I got across there.
That's right.
He's this bloke kicking goals from the centre. Like I was
Junction Oval.
just
He could boot. They called him Super Boot.
yeah.
Super
He,
Boot, I know,
honestly, if Bernie Quinlan was out of the Fitzroy side while I was there,
Yeah.
there was a remarkable difference in our team.
My word.
If Gary Wilson was out, not so. Wilson was a great
Wilson
player.
was
Don't
a
get me
great
wrong,
player. But a
Don't get me
midfielder.
wrong, great
You can
player.
cover him.
but you could cover him.
Yeah.
We could not cover
No.
the talent of a Bernie Quinlan.
No.
He was just something else. And he was just an amazing
Oh, look,
player.
and you
He
would have also
win games
seen
off his own
guys
boot.
like Ruse and Pert and
Yep.
guys like that coming through at Fitzroy.
Oh, well, the first few nights I went to training, and Pert and Ruse and Osborne and that
And Osmond, yeah.
we were training. They were only 17, 18.
Yeah, they were just young
I
players.
think Pert was about 16
Yeah.
at that stage.
Yeah,
And I went home to Robin. I said, Robin, there's these 3 or 4 kids there, far out, at
They're gonna be
training.
champs.
Yeah, at training, you can tell. At training, these kids look amazing. Like I can't wait till they get in.
Yeah.
They've got some really special kids coming
Yes,
on, and
yes.
and it was then.
So it was
you know.
exciting.
Yeah. Oh, look, it was a great time. But one of the things that Robert did was the '82 pre-season. He changed football, and forever, and
Yeah.
to the modern game, to the way it is played. And he was before his time. He called us in the October of the '82 pre-season, leading up to '82.
Yeah.
and said, "Look, I've got all these ideas in my head." And he had a blackboard, not a whiteboard. He had a blackboard.
Of course,
and he said, "This is what I'm looking to do."
Straight out of Coburg High.
Exactly. But there was only about 25 of us. It was a core group of players, the senior group.
And he trusted you all to keep that to yourself?
Yeah, he did. He said, this is my thoughts on the kick-ins and centre bounce plays and, when we were in the forward line, how we're going to block for each other and what we're going to do. And we sat there just, wow, like this.
Strategy.
Yeah, this could work. Because really,
one of the
other than Jezza telling me this is what you got to do, you
there
just
was no strategy.
You just played.
You never had any.
You didn't have kicking strategies or anything. So he
What
really
was one
changed.
of the strategies like? Do you remember something?
Yeah. Like we would come in and we would huddle.
I was just going to say, did Ball start the huddle at Fitzroy?
Yeah, he did.
He certainly brought it to Carlton in
brought it to
86.
Carlton.
Yeah.
Where they started all in the middle and then they
branch out, or we went over the top.
Right.
So you had Grant Laurie, who was an unbelievable kick, and we would huddle
yeah.
well inside 50. And
So how would you know that this was going to, like on game day?
Was Grant Laurie grabbed the ball.
Oh, that's it. So
there were other blokes. There were different. So whoever grabbed the ball,
that's interesting.
That was our play.
I like that.
So Grant Laurie grabbed the ball. We were going up the middle.
Yeah.
So what would happen though is we'd come down. So everyone would come down. The forwards would push back inside 50.
Wow.
And the others, wingmen, everyone would come in. We'd bring our men in, and then we'd bring them in as tight as we could, and then we'd block. And it might be for Laurie Serafini, or someone, or it could be me, whoever. But there was a nominated player. Someone quick would just take off, and their man was virtually down. Without giving a free kick away. But it was because it was so tight, the umpires couldn't see what was going on anyway.
No.
And a bloke would burst out. Grant Laurie would play on himself, kick over the top, well into the square. You'd be running by yourself. Everyone, all the ground in front of you, bang, bang, goal.
Gee.
You're kicking down to Quinlan and Rendell or whatever.
That's sick. That's like
it's just stuff like that.
Must have been exciting playing in a team like that. It was just growing with young players that are developing and starting to really
So
tell me something when you watched the 81 grand final being won by Carlton.
Yeah, I went. Yeah.
Well, how'd you feel?
Mixed emotions.
Yeah.
Did
you want them to lose a little bit?
No, because
come on.
No, I didn't.
Really?
Yeah, because I've got so many mates. I've got so many mates.
Why would he want them to lose to Collingwood of all teams?
I know, but it's like I've asked this on a few players. I suppose Peter Dean was different because the 93.
He was still in the club.
He was still in the club, and he kind of had this mixed emotions.
Yeah. You think about, geez, I could have been out there.
Yeah.
Or, what if I'd stayed?
Yeah.
Maybe I could have played. How would I have felt though? I was thankful Mark Azani wasn't out there.
Were you?
Well, actually in '82,
he ran out.
He ran out with David Clark.
Yeah.
But they didn't play.
Yeah.
Did you think to yourself, hang on, what's going on here? Is he going to play?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And
so he never played in a grand final?
No, was that a little bit of a new beauty? He didn't end up getting a gig?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to say that, yes.
But that's not personal against him, is it? Or did you have
it is. It was personal for
personal.
Me. At that stage, it was. It's not now. I'm older. No, frankly.
No, but what I mean is that you never really knew the bloke.
No, I played on him.
Who represented all.
Exactly, I'd played
on him. He represented the bloke.
It was personal against I forget the club, not against Marcus.
That bloke took my spot in that team.
Yeah. And I played on him, and when I did swap, when we played Carlton,
I would play harder.
I would play
just
harder.
That extra 1%.
Yeah, I would play harder because I wanted to show him, and I wanted to.
Of course you would.
Show Mark Azani and
was
things like that. Yeah, exactly, and so. Of course. But
he didn't play too many games.
For Carlton winning, no, because Wayne Harms, Kenny Sheldon, all the guys played with me in '79,
of course.
I'd been with them for 5.5 years. They were my best mates.
These are the things.
So I'm happy for
I actually think that these are the things that these chairmen of selectors like Wisloffs underestimate. The camaraderie and the mateship and the looking after each other that happens within premiership sides.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, he's gone and created some division, if you like, within that side.
And look, it really could.
Mark Azani wouldn't have been their favourite person either, would they?
I think it probably could have, but I think, having a smart person like David Parkin, I think he would have been able to get the players to...
And he did.
accept
him and that this is what footy's about, because he knew that, I was probably a popular member of the team, and and that's not being big-headed or anything, but I did get along with everyone. Even though I didn't drink, I sort of crossed across all the different ranges, and and so they were guys that we went out with, and
and you still know all of them to this day, don't you?
Still know them all, and they're great mates still. So so it's an interesting one, but I often think, I would have loved to have played in 3. Yeah, that would have been lovely.
Course.
But I'm so thankful that I played in 1.
That's a good way to look at it. You're thankful for what you got.
Rather than what you missed out on.
What I missed out on. So, I've been really lucky. And I say that I got that day, and as I said, it defined my life. It's done wonders for me. And, 10 years of footy, which is only a short period. I was talking to Lee Carlton the other day, and I played a quarter of that 79 grand final on Lee.
On him?
Yeah, on the third quarter.
And your mates?
And we're best mates now, because we played at Fitzroy together. And I was we were having lunch just a couple of days ago with he and his wife, and Lee said, Peter, I played only 7 years, but it's defined us. And I said, you're right. It's a short period of your life, but it does define your life.
Yes,
it does. And it's
so
just
you
an
played
amazing
79 through to 88. That was the 10-year period.
That was that 10-year period. 79.
Now, of course, we need to probably wrap this up. But you went to Fitzroy for how many seasons?
I had the 2.5.
So you had half of 81, 82 and 83.
And they were successful seasons.
And then you went off to Richmond?
I went off to Richmond,
Now, just very quickly, was that because you had a problem at Fitzroy, or you wanted a fresh change, or Robert Walls and you all of a sudden didn't click, or what?
Yeah, there was a few little things. I wanted a little bit more money, so it was for money. Richmond were shelving out. I'd been... Because I'd come out of contract from 81, and I'd played. That was probably my real good years where I played pretty well, and I was probably coming into good years with Richmond. But I was probably marketable, and I hurt my hamstring in the middle of 83. I was having my best year in 83, and I did a hamstring against Hawthorn at Princes Park. I actually did it on the Thursday night, and Wolsey come in and said, "Look, we're playing Hawthorn. I really need you to play." It was like I had a cramp in the back of my leg. I thought I cramped. I'd never done a hamstring. Anyway,
it was actually a hamstring twinge.
He said, "Go home, have a run tomorrow morning. See how you feel." So I went for a run and everything, but I didn't sort of stretch out. I rang him and I said, I think I'll be okay, I'll play.
As you do.
You wouldn't be the first player that's done that.
Mickey Collin gave me one of his only handballs for his career. And I took it, and I had Chris Langford right on my back, and I took off, and bang, my hamstring went. Wow. So I missed about 8 weeks, and come into the finals, I was underdone, and we went out in straight sets. And Wolsey wasn't over happy with me after that
because you went to Richmond?
No.
Oh, you mean during that 83 season?
The last part of it. Yeah, we sort of had a falling out, but we're still friends now, and to this day.
But you weren't on the same page?
We weren't on the same page, and Richmond come along with a massive offer. Here I am.
Of course.
A wife and 2 children. Your life changes.
Of course.
And it was a lot of money.
It's natural.
I don't want to have the money, but how much was it? Not how much, but...
we're talking...
I don't want to know about the money side, but how much were you paid?
No, not how much. Was it like double? Or like...
Double what
was Richmond offering you double what you were on, or triple what you were on?
Double what I was going to get.
Whatever the case is, that's a lot of money.
That normally gets anyone.
Yeah.
I can tell you that about 15 years ago, I'd actually got a CEO from one club to come to Carlton because he was offered double.
Exactly. And, it was too good.
Do your sums and you'll know who it is.
Yeah, and, there was talk even then, Fitzroy were a little bit shaky, and in all honesty, in the end, Wolsey came out to our place one night and had a chat to me. He said, "Look, we really want you to stay." With George Coates, who was the chairman of selectors. And he talked me around. I said, "Okay, I know I'll take less money, but I'll stay." And he said, "I'll make sure that they have a meeting tomorrow with Richmond and make sure that they ring you and tell you that you signed with
Yep.
Brian Wood.
Yep.
That meeting never happened. No one come, and I signed with Richmond that day.
Wow.
Late in the evening, it was 5 o'clock. I waited all day at Brian Wood's office for Fitzroy to ring, and they didn't ring.
Yeah.
So
That's
Fitzroy
what they
needed the
call
money.
a sliding doors
Yeah,
moment.
and again, Fitzroy got a lot of money
Yeah,
for me.
for you.
Yeah, and I think.
Just like they got a lot of money for Marcus Starter.
Yeah.
Why did they go broke? They got all this money.
I know, but they're obviously paying Quinlan and Wilson.
Yeah, well,
Those sort of talk, but
It's a shame, really, because Fitzroy, as you said, they were coming in.
It was a great
85, 86, and all that. They were great.
They were. We had a
And Parker went back there, of course.
Yeah,
after Walls went back to Carlton.
We had a good side. Like, I didn't realise how good Fitzroy were and how good their players were when we played against them. Like with Carlton, like we didn't lose to Fitzroy, but that when I went there, like players like Les Parrish, Leon Harris and Lee Carlson and different ones, like they were amazing players. And you think Grant Laurie Serafini, the list went on and on, and you go, like, this mob can really play, So, and Walls, he was just out of his tree coach. Like he was, I could show you some of the letters from Wallsy to me after we finish here. They're just amazing. You'd be amazed with them, the letters and stuff that he would write leading up to games and things like that. He was just...
It was a different
amazing coach. It was. And
coaching was a lot more personal back then, I think, in that sense.
It was, and he was an amazing coach.
Because it was all one coach. It wasn't this big team of assistants. I mean, a lot of the players today, they wouldn't really get to see or spend all that much time with the senior coach. Because they've all got these little groups.
Yeah. He dropped me at the end of the 83 season, just before the last round. So I didn't play the last round before the finals.
That would have made you play on your monitor too, but
and he dropped me for that game, but he brought me in and he said, Peter, this is the hardest discussion I've ever had, for me to have to drop you.
Yeah.
And I've gone like, well, I've gone on out. He said...
All you heard was drop.
I'm gone. He said, but I do remember it. And so it was a hard decision for him to make, but obviously it was the right one. I wasn't playing.
So Richmond, 84, 85?
Yeah. 86. I had really good years. 84, 85. I played really well under Mike Patterson. Played predominantly in the centre, wing, a little bit of half back, but had a really good season, one of the best seasons. Finished in the top 5 or 6 in the best and fairest both of those years. The next year, Paul Sproul come from Tasmania. Richmond were all over the shop with their presidents and their committees and coaches. So Pato got the sack because they felt the team wasn't performing. We still finished in the top 8, but Paul Sproul come in. He was an amazing coach for me. He was again one of those thinkers that was an amazing thinker.
Right.
He changed my role to playing in a back pocket or half back.
Okay.
He felt that my run and
would give
probably
like
a bit like Doherty or something like that. And the way I read the play would give drive. And sometimes I played centre half back, on bigger opponents where I could run off them. And so I had a really, really good year under him. Again, I was sort of top 4 or 5 in their best and fairest. Tony Jewell come the year after. There was a bit of
another single pattern here with the Richmond coaches, one every year.
And
the revolving door.
It was, and I had a poor pre-season because I broke my arm. We had a pre-season camp down here at Sorrento,
right?
And I broke my arm in a practice game down here.
Yep.
And I missed about 6 or 7 weeks, and I was running the tan before going over and watching training because I was in plaster and I couldn't train. And before the season started, I got pneumonia and got really sick. So leading up to the season, for the last 6 weeks, I hardly trained.
Wow.
And I trained the week before round 1 against Melbourne, and I played okay, but it was all downhill from there. I just lost my form.
Right.
The team wasn't playing well.
Yeah.
And I guess, probably Tony and I didn't really click that well as player and coach, and
So how did the Essendon experiment come along?
Well, I still had another 2 years of a contract. I'd just signed a new contract when Tony Jewell come in.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'd signed a 3-year deal with them. And anyway, he said with salary cap, so, you know, I was on reasonably good money with Richmond still. And he said with the salary cap, they said, it's going to push you out.
Yeah.
That's the reason we have to let you go. So along come Kevin Sheedy. I got a phone call actually from their recruiters.
Yep.
And first up and said that Sheedy would like to have a chat to you. We'd like to get you in. So a bloke called Noel Bosch.
Yep.
Yeah, he rang me for a start, and he sort of teed up a meeting, and I met with Kevin in a park somewhere in his car.
Really?
Yeah, just I don't
Really?
know.
Like a park intro
Yeah. I went and met him at this park, and then just hopped in his car and just said, look, we've lost Brian Wood.
Coming from Reservoir, there was many deals done in the park.
I know.
Wasn't Edwards late, was it?
Yeah, but look, I'd had offers to go to West Australia. I was actually off to play at East Fremantle. I said to Robin, I don't want to go to a fourth club.
Right.
I feel that was always going to be a stigma there with players playing at 4 clubs, that you're a bit of a hoper or,
too
sort
many.
of thing. Yeah, too many clubs. And let's get a change. Let's get out of Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I'd had, different clubs from interstate clubs, and I thought I'd go to East Fremantle and just get a new beginning and stuff like that.
Enjoy a new state.
I could have gone to St Kilda. Kenny Sheldon was there as a player, and he wanted me to come to St Kilda, and they come out and saw me. John Northey was new coach at Melbourne, and he sort of picked. But when Sheedy spoke to me, it sort of pricked. I thought I wanted another premiership, Vince.
Well, they'd won 84 and 85.
Yeah, missed out at 86. 86, they had all those injuries. Watson.
Yes.
They had a whole Bomber Thompson.
So it looked like
Williams
they were
broke
going to come
his
back.
leg.
Yeah,
Vanderhaar broke his leg. They looked like they were coming back, and I thought, this is my chance.
Maybe another flavour.
Yeah, so I went to Essendon on just match payments.
Right.
And whereas I could have made really good money at St Kilda or Melbourne, and I didn't think Melbourne would play off in the grand final. How wrong I was.
88.
They made the grand final. Yeah. So I made the wrong call. But no, I didn't really.
I had one of their biggest losses in a grand final.
96 points.
Yeah.
But you would have made the difference.
Exactly.
7 point difference.
Yeah. But
on the wing, of course, on the Dominico.
Yeah, that's right. But I just thought this is my chance to play another premiership. Maybe I was hungry for that last one, and I played the first 15 games, and badly broke my ankle and leg at training, and it was Thursday night, and we were doing some contesting, believe it or not. Yeah. Sheeds rolled the ball out, and I was contesting with a fellow called Ed Considine, and he fell on the
leg. With Ed Considine?
Did you? Yeah.
Ed St Joseph's in Pascoe Bar.
Oh, I got a story about Ed.
Sure you do. I've got a few too.
Well, Ed Considine got his first game.
Yep.
Right. Anyway, we had a team meeting. Lights went out.
Yep.
Sheeds had a video up.
Yep.
Lights went on. Ed's asleep.
That'd be right.
Ed's out of the scene. He's out. So he missed playing his first game because he went to sleep in the team meeting.
Wow.
He would have done that once or twice at St Joseph's as well.
That's a good one.
So we were competing for the spot.
Was this in 87?
This was 88. 87.
Yeah,
87.
we just finished school in 86.
Yeah.
12.
87. So Ed's fallen, Sheeds has hit the ball out, he's fallen on the leg, bang.
He's a
whoever
big boy,
will play him the next week.
He's a solid boy.
He was, he's a good fellow, Ed.
Yeah.
And it broke my leg and ankle, and so I missed the rest of that season. I missed a lot of the pre-season because my leg kept blowing up.
Right.
And I'd had a really good season. I won Best Home Ground Player at Windy Hill. They had an award, Best Home Ground Player.
Okay.
So I was playing, some really good footy for him off half back.
Yep.
And wing, sort of back pocket, same role, bit of centre half back as Paul Sproul had me. So it was like Brian Wood role that he got me in for. That's what he spoke about.
Yes.
And 88, I played 4 games, but every time I played, I'd do a hamstring or a calf. And
there's a big difference. There's a big difference in 88 because you had a 3 next to your age.
Exactly, I was 30. And
those injuries take a bit more of a toll.
They take a toll, and so it was bit of a bummer, really. You know, I felt I still had some good footy inside in me, and had no inkling of wanting to coach. I had no aspirations at all.
Yeah.
And
so did you know at the end of '88 that?
Did
you actually call your own retirement?
I did. I retired. I said to Kevin, "Look, you know, I'm not going to get back. I'm 31. There's no way I'm going to get back. My leg's still playing up."